Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our today's webinar, where we are going to talk about residence visa pathway for overseas teachers in New Zealand. And my name is Priyanka, and I'll be the host of today's webinar, where we will be speaking um, about exploring pathways to New Zealand residence visa, along with our speakers, Ms. Vandana Rai and Sanil Haria from NZTC. But before we move to our speakers, I would quickly like to introduce you all about our company. Who are we? So, we are Immigration Advisors New Zealand Limited. We are based out of Auckland in New Zealand. Uh, we have a team, a group of 4 licensed immigration advisors, and we have handled clients for over 30 countries. We have a support staff of over 6 different nationalities spread across different countries. We are locally present in India, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Philippines, Middle East, and Bangladesh. We have been in this immigration industry for over 20 plus years, and we are the most reviewed licensed immigration advisors on Google. And you can definitely Google it to see it yourself. So, moving further, I would now like to introduce you all to our today's speakers. So, the first speaker that we have is Mrs. Vandana Rai, our Senior Licensed Immigration Advisor. So, Mrs. Rai, would you like to say hello to our participants?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining in today's webinar. This is definitely going to be the last webinar for the year, and we are really happy spreading this information for overseas trained teachers. So we would try and cover the information on the residence pathways for overseas qualified teachers, overseas trained teachers. What is the pathway? How do they move from study, registration, residence? What are the options for family members while they study? Once they complete the study, what happens? How do they get the teacher's registration? Hopefully, by the end of the webinar, you should have answers to all these questions. So thank you for joining us today. Over to you, Priyanka.
Thank you, ma'am. And the next that we have is Mr. Sanil Haria, the Senior Marketing Manager at New Zealand Tertiary College, which is also called as NZTC. So, Sanil, would you like to say hello to our participants?
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Priyanka. Hi, my name is Sanil. I'm the Senior Marketing Manager at New Zealand Tertiary College. It's great to be again associated with a key educational partner, Immigration Advisors New Zealand. And I'm here to talk about what NZTC offers in terms of early childhood courses. So, if you're looking to be an early childhood teacher in New Zealand and want to know more, what are the study options available? I'm here to guide you and help you through, and also talk in general about the early childhood education and teaching sector in New Zealand. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to giving you some information, and looking forward to your answering your questions. So yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, over to you, Priyanka.
Thank you, Sanil. So, with this, Sanil, what I would like to do is I will pass on the platform to you, um, and you can take it from yours. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop share, and you can share your screen. Thank you.
So I'm gonna share my screen.
And in the meanwhile, I would just like to let the participants know that you can start typing your questions in the Q&A box. And towards the end of the session, we would try to answer those questions one by one.
Great.
Yes, sir.
Is anyone can confirm can see my PowerPoint on the screen?
Yes, Sanil, we can.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. Okay, thank you for coming to this short presentation about New Zealand Tertiary College. So we are we are an institution which specializes and values people and is committed to empowering students to care, educate, and serve meaningfully and effectively by providing comprehensive and professional programs. That's our mission statement. Because at the end of the day, we are college, our students are studying to become EC teachers, making difference in the life of young children and communities in New Zealand and all over the world. So we provide very comprehensive, highly skilled professional qualifications. Why New Zealand Tertiary College? A common question I'm sure all of you would be having. Why should I be studying or thinking to study at NZTC? First of all, we are an NZQA Category 1 provider. So all our qualifications are approved by NZQA, which is a government agency under Ministry of Education. So all our government approved qualifications. We are the largest
95,
early
huh?
childhood teacher education institute in New Zealand with 42 years history. So we started in 1982, and going forward, we should be celebrating 42 years. So we one of the largest provider of teacher education in New Zealand. We offer two of our qualifications: graduate diploma in teaching and bachelor's of teaching that leads to teachers registration, which allows the students to work as a qualified and registered ECE teacher. We also offer pathway programs for somebody who's just a high school graduate back from their home country. So we offer diploma level 5 to level 6 to even bachelor's qualification if you're looking to study 3 years bachelor's through with us. What makes us very different than other institutions and universities is the fact that you decide which start date you want to study your course. So we offer to you can choose to start any Monday between 22nd January till 4th of November for our undergraduate qualifications of diplomas, bachelor's, and graduate diploma. And what makes us very unique is the fact that you get an qualifications have field experience and field practice as a very important and large component. So the international students appreciate the fact that they're getting some sort of field experience or field practice in an early childhood center every week while they study through with us. It's highly practical qualification in nature is what we offer. So these are some of the undergraduate qualifications we offer. I'll talk in detail about each qualification in the next slides. So we offer graduate diploma in teaching in early childhood education. Duration is 1.33 years, which is roughly 16 months. And this course leads to teaching council registration. So if you're looking to be an early childhood teacher in New Zealand, you have to study a level 7 qualification with NZTC. And graduation from this qualification means you get teacher's registration. So you have to study a qualification, get teacher's registration, then only you can work as an early childhood teacher in New Zealand. We also offer bachelor's of teaching qualification, which is 3 years, and that also leads to teacher's registration. We have another qualification called bachelor's of education, which is again 3 years. The difference between bachelor's of teaching and bachelor's of education is bachelor's of teaching leads to teacher's registration, whereas bachelor's of education do not lead to teacher's registration. And of course, then we offer diplomas level 5 of 1 year and New Zealand diploma in EC level 5 of 1 year and New Zealand diploma in EC level 6 of 1 year. So diploma level 5 is equivalent to first year of bachelor's degree and diploma level 6 is equivalent to second year of bachelor's degree. Okay, so I'm going to spend some time on this qualification because it's the most popular qualification among international students and it leads to registration. So the entry requirements for graduate diploma in teaching is if you need to hold 3 years bachelor's degree or 2 years master's degree as an academic entry requirement. It can be any bachelor's, any stream or major or specialization. It can be any master's. But your bachelor's degree of 3 years, they need to be assessed by NZQ at level 7, or master's degree 2 years, they need to be assessed at level 9 if you're applying from offshore. Other important requirement is language requirements. So the students need to accept English language tests, which is either language cert C1 35 out of 50 in each band, or the other English language tests we accept is PT of 65 in each band, IELTS academic of 7 in each band, and CELT and TESOL. The good thing about English language test is we can accept multiple test scores as well. So it's not mandatory that you need to achieve these tests in single sitting. We can accept in multiple test scores. There are also ways you can exempt from language tests. So if you don't need to provide us with English language test. If you have studied bachelor's or master's, 2 years or more full-time face-to-face in English, taught in English, while you stayed in New Zealand, Australia, US, UK, Canada, Ireland, South Africa, and 1 year master's degree, if it's from UK. So if you've studied 1 year master's from UK, studied entirely in the UK, then, for example, you don't need to provide IELTS or PT score. After you meet the academic and English language requirements, we have to do Zoom interview with you. It's a face-to-face interview. And after the Zoom interview, your file goes through selection to issue offer letter and invoice. So this is a very popular qualification among international students who are looking to study. If you have a bachelor's degree, you may want to strongly consider this qualification. Then we also offer bachelor's of teaching qualification for someone who do not hold a bachelor's degree from their home country. So if you're a high school graduate and looking to study bachelor's, then we offer 3 years qualification. You need to be a high school graduate and again have IELTS academic of 7 in each band or PT of 65 in each band, language cert 35 out of 50 in each band as well. So the English language requirements remain the same as graduate diploma in teaching because this course also leads to teachers registration. And once you met our English language requirements and academic requirements, you have to go through an interview. And after the interview, the file goes through selection and we issue offer letter and invoice. Okay, let me spend some time here with pathway programs. So if you, for example, if you're a high school graduate and you want to study a bachelor's qualification but start with a diploma, so we also offer New Zealand diploma in EC level 5, which is 1 year. After this doing 1 year diploma level 5, you can continue with 1 more year, level 6, which is equivalent to second year of bachelor's. So after you study level 5 plus level 6, you just need to study 1 more year, which is third year, because you get cross credit for completing level 5 plus level 6. And this course leads to teachers registration, which will again allow you to work as a qualified and registered EC teacher. So this pathway is very popular for students who are just high school graduates, 18 years above in age, and they're looking to study EC qualifications in New Zealand. So these are the entry requirements for someone who wants to do diploma level 5 and level 6. So the entry requirement for level 5 is you need to be a high school graduate, basic IELTS of 5.5 overall with 5 in each band, or PT of 42 overall with 36 in each band. And then for level 6, you need to be a level 5 graduate. So you can't enroll into a New Zealand diploma in level 6 directly. You need to complete level 5 before you enroll in level 6. And IELTS for level 6 is 6 overall with 5.5 in each band, or PT of 50 overall with 42 in each band. So after you complete diploma and level 5 and level 6, you can complete 1 more year of bachelor's qualification, third year. So we also offer postgraduate qualifications. So the difference between undergraduate qualifications like graduate diploma in teaching or bachelor's and the postgraduate qualifications is the postgraduate qualifications, they do not lead to teachers registration. So that means you can't work as an early childhood teacher if you study one of our postgraduate qualifications. So if you're looking to work in non-teaching roles in early childhood education, like a lecturer or tutor or admin roles or managerial roles, then you may look to study our postgraduate or master's qualification. The basic entry requirements for postgraduate and master's is you need to hold 3 years bachelor's degree, which needs to be assessed by NZQ at level 7. And you have to have meet English language requirements, which is IELTS 6.5 overall with 6 in each band, or PT of 58 overall with 50 in each band or equivalent. Again, here we got 4 intakes in a year: February, May, August, and October. So you can choose to enroll in one of our 4 intakes if you're looking to study postgraduate or master's qualification. So these are some of the useful links, which are the English language requirements set by Teaching Council of New Zealand, NZQA English language requirements for students, international students. Education Gazette is one of the job seek websites by Ministry of Education. So this website shows at any point of time there are 400 to 450 vacancies only in early childhood education. Early childhood teachers are in high demand. There is a shortage of EC teachers in New Zealand, and there are so many vacancies in early childhood education itself. I've been working with NZTC since it's almost more than 12 years, and I've not come across any student who's graduated and not found a job as an early childhood teacher. Most of them, 80 to 85% of our students have a job or job offer even before they graduate. Some of them have multiple job offers. So it's very popular qualification. in terms of students who are looking to study in New Zealand. And also, there are some information about if you plan to do PT or language cert, some of the links available here. So these are a contact us address. So we have based head office is in Auckland. We got another campus in Christchurch. There are two campuses where you can look at studying our camp qualifications. Auckland and Christchurch, two of the largest cities in New Zealand. If you have any queries or questions, of course, you can email us on international@nztertiarycollege.ac.nz, or of course, you can contact us through Immigration Advisors team if you have any queries. And you can find all this information and more information on our website, www.nztertiarycollege.ac.nz. So I think Priyanka, what I'm going to do is I'll end my presentation here and open the session for the students to ask any questions.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Sanil, for giving us a detailed information about uh, the teaching courses in New Zealand and NZTC. Um, and NZTC is definitely the first choice whenever someone talks about the teachers' courses in New Zealand. So, yes, thank you for giving that information. So, like Sanil rightly said, now we will move to the next segment, which is the question and answer round. So in this, I see we have a lot of questions. So I'll pick up the first one that we have over here. So the first question that we have is, I'm currently reading the Masters in Educational Administration, Supervision and Planning from the American College. Kindly advise me what is the course program that I should apply. Um, so I see someone is already studying Masters in Educational Administration. So Sanil, would you
Hmm.
like to answer that question? What would
So
be the
if
next
you're
step?
looking to become EC teacher in New Zealand, if you want to work as an early childhood teacher, the only qualification I can recommend you, since you're looking to study masters, I'm assuming you would have done your bachelor's. Is graduate diploma in teaching in early childhood education. So it's a level 7 qualification that leads to teachers registration, allowing you to work as a qualified and registered EC teacher. So that's the qualification I would highly recommend if you're looking to be an EC teacher.
Thank you. So the next question that we have is there a minimum grade requirement in bachelor's or master's to qualify for the graduate in ECE teaching?
There is no minimum grade required, but we surely
Okay,
want to see your degree, bachelor's assessed by NZQA as level 7, or your master's assessed at level 9. That's what we look at, but there's no minimum, grades or class you guys need to show.
great. Thank you. Just to add to it, Sanil, this is something that while I was going through your presentation, I would just like to ask. You did mention about a postgraduate diploma in teaching, right? You did mention that the minimum requirement would be a bachelor's, 3 years bachelor's degree. So is it country specific 3 years, or it could be 3 years no matter which country that bachelor's degree is from?
Yeah, so it can be bachelor's degree needs to be 3 years assessed by NZQA. So it can be any specialization or major. So
Okay.
it's not that they need to have something in teaching or education. Even if they are
Mhm.
business graduates, accounting graduates, engineering graduates, that's absolutely fine. As long as to meet academic requirements, as long as the degree is equivalent to a New Zealand degree by doing NZQA, we'll accept it.
Great, thank you. So this is one of the most favorite question that we always get in our webinars. So someone has mentioned the date of birth and they have asked if they can apply for a master's or MA B.Ed from they have done MA B.Ed from Indian University and they've given the date of birth. So they are just asking if they can also apply. So the date of birth that they've given, the year is mentioned as 69. Um, so would any one of you like to answer that question or should I answer it from all
I
right,
can
I'll
take
go
that.
ahead.
Yeah,
Thank you,
I can
ma'am.
take that. Thanks, and thanks, Priyanka. So, I presume there could be two, three parts of this question. First could be, I have this huge academic gap. So, would I be accepted by the education provider? Will immigration will have any concern? So, Sanil, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but no age bar for the studying program. So, they could be whatever age, 60, 70. We've even done student
Third
visas
one.
application. Yeah, approved for even touching 80 an applicant. So if studying is your main goal, then definitely don't think that you should even uh, eh, don't think that age would be considered adversely by the education provider or even immigration. However, if residence visa is one of your future further options that you would like to see, so if you are wanting to apply for a residence visa after you complete your studies, then please be aware that 55 years is the age that Immigration New Zealand has set for somebody to apply for the residence application. So till the time you reach your 56th birthday is the time you can apply for your residence. Now, after you complete your teaching program, how long can it take for you to apply for your residence? If you are a bachelor's, you may have to work for 2 years as a registered teacher to be then eligible for your residence visa. If you're already a master's, like this person says, I'm a MA, MBEd, so this person is already a master's. So if your master's is assessed at level 9, you may be even eligible to apply for residence after working as a registered teacher for 1 year. I'll try and explain it a bit more. I know we'll have multiple questions on those lines, so we can probably cover those questions in one go. So um, there are different paths leading to residence post completion of your student visa. One is the green list pathway. The EC teachers are listed on the green list pathway. It's a work to residence pathway. You work for 2 years and you can apply for residence. The other is the 6 point pathway. So you need to get a total of 6 points. With a master's, you can get 5 points. You complete the qualification, work as a registered teacher, gather that remaining 1 point, and then apply for your residence after 1 year. So I've tried to cover this question from multiple angles. Priyanka, tell me if I've missed out on anything. Over to you.
No, you did cover up everything. You did. Just, you know, following question to what you just given information about. So, while someone is teaching while someone is learning in New Zealand, can they get their family members also? Can their
Yeah.
family members come and can they work while the person is studying in New Zealand?
Sanil, you would have experienced this a lot. So the best thing that Greenlist has done is options for partners. Before this Greenlist came in and the teachers were included there, if somebody was studying a graduate diploma in teaching early childhood education, and the partners were only eligible for a visitor visa. But now with the new policy set in, if somebody is doing a grad dip in teaching, and partners would be eligible to apply for a partnership based work visa. If they've got dependent children, depending upon their age, they can apply for a domestic fee paying student visa or a dependent child visitor visa. Kids can study for free in New Zealand. So while the one of the parent is doing this graduate diploma in teaching ECE, once they complete the study and they move on to the post study work visa, the family again has this option of the partner being able to apply for a partnership based work visa with open work condition. Partners can work in any occupation, any number of hours for any employer, and kids can then continue to study for free. So definitely good options if families are considering doing this course and moving to New Zealand as a family. Yeah, thanks. Over to you, Priyanka.
Great, thank you. I'll move to the next one. So, if I get admitted to a teaching course with a language waiver, would Teaching Council of New Zealand at any point require me to clear the language requirement before I apply for teachers registration? So, this is something to Sanil to answer. Would you like me to
So,
repeat that,
first
Sanil?
of all, when you enroll into a course, when you apply through, we will check whether you meet the teaching council requirements of English language. That is, whether you have to provide us with the IELTS or PT scores, or whether we don't need that. It can be waived based on, as one of the criteria, as I mentioned, you studied from those 7 countries, or, we'll look at those factors, and what we do is we strongly follow what teaching council requirements is for English language. Okay. But at the end of the day, once you graduate, the teaching council is a separate process. And teaching council has the right to ask any questions or documents they need when it comes to. Till date, what I've come across, the students have not asked because they have we have followed all their requirements. So when we enroll students, we enroll in a way that the students, when they graduate, they straight apply for registration. They don't face any issues or they have to do any tests again. So if you follow college's requirements, then in cases, all the cases till date, they've not asked for any documents, additional documents from the students. But we always being cautious because teaching council is a body, a professional body of teachers. Registration, there is a separate process. They have the right to ask any documents they need. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for answering that. I'll move to
Priyanka,
the
if I
next
can
one.
add on, if I
Yep,
can add
sure.
on something there. So, like Sanil said, English language requirement is definitely one of the mandatory requirements here because if this course leads to registration, the school has to make sure that you are meeting the requirement that the teaching council would need. So you don't, get into a situation where you do a qualification, but then you can't get the teacher's registration. So that is the reason why schools have aligned their requirements with the teaching council's requirement. One good thing that is going to happen now is starting from next week, IELTS is going to accept one skill retake. So they, if somebody's not met the requirement of the IELTS, so suppose you need 7 bands in each module and you've missed out on getting that 7 bands in writing. Earlier, the applicants had to do the entire IELTS again and they would then club both the scores. But the fact remained that the applicant would have to sit for all 4 modules again. So now with this new opening, they can just sit for the module which they haven't scored the required band in, and then they can get the results and then apply. It will save a lot of time, it will save a lot of effort, and definitely we can get more clients getting interested because things probably is going to be better and easier with this change. Yeah, over to
Just
you,
Vandana, I
Priyanka.
want to add on to what you just mentioned. So we recently had one student who took retake one of the IELTS module, the one you explained right now, the new facility which is offered by the IELTS. So we had presented in that such, because it was the first case, we had to present it to the teaching council for approval. So it's pending approval right now. So as soon as it gets approved, we'll update you on this. Because as per what's mentioned on the website, it says IELTS they all 4 modules, but if they accept individual module, then we'll clearly. I think they're gonna get back to us in early January on this, whether they'll accept one single sitting for one single module. So I'll keep you posted on it.
Okay, so no, that's good. Thanks for sharing. We've heard from Immigration New Zealand today that they would be accepting and they endorse this change. So good news is that Immigration has conveyed that they accept, and then we wait for the teaching council to come up with their outcome as well.
Yes.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for shedding light on the new recent update with regards to the IELTS. Thank you, ma'am. So the next question, I'll move on to the next question now. The next question is about my spouse holds a degree in electronic engineering. She has worked in pre-primary education for 4 years. In this instance, is a teaching credential sufficient, or do we still need to get a bachelor's or a master's degree in teaching? So, Sanal, yes, this question
Yeah.
is over to
So
you.
yeah. So in order to be an early childhood teacher in New Zealand, you need to be qualified in EC curriculum in New Zealand. So that means you still have to study a qualification in New Zealand to be qualified in New Zealand curriculum. So the person would have to study, irrespective of their bachelor's in teaching or education or modules in EC, sorry, in their home country. They still have to study a qualification in New Zealand to work as a qualified and registered EC teacher.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank
Sanil.
you.
Priyanka, I see a few questions on those lines. So I know we'll not be able to cover all questions, so I'll just take that one also in here.
Sure.
Like bachelor's or level some, your qualification assessed at level 7, uh, 3-year level 7, 360 credits, like what is the mandatory requirement for a grad dip in teaching is what it is. We see a lot of clients who come to us with the interest in this program, but when we look at their NZQ assessment, they've got their B.Ed assessed, but not their bachelor's a lot of time. So just wanted to let the attendees know, and based on this question, that whether bachelor is mandatory. So if you're thinking of studying the teaching program, and if you have a teaching qualification and you also have a bachelor's, make sure that you get your bachelor's assessed, because for you to be able to apply for this program, you would need bachelor's 360 credits assessed at level 7 by NZQA. In isolation, your B.Ed assessed at level 7 will not qualify you for this program at NZTC. Yeah. Over to you, Priyanka.
Thank you. Thank you for answering that. And I'll move to the next one. Um, the next question is I'm sorry, give me a minute. Yeah. I'm master's in education and want to upgrade my career at New Zealand. What will be my pathway as I'm confused in what I have explored? So I see the question that we have is someone has done master's in education and wants to study further. So what should be the pathway that the person
I
can
I
select?
can I can take that,
Yeah.
and Sanil, you can add on if I have missed something. So, if you're thinking of making a career in teaching, if you are interested in teaching, and based on the fact that you've done your MEd, it seems this to me, you may have to do a teaching program here in New Zealand, because a lot of times education degrees are not considered equivalent to the teaching learning requirement for the Teaching Council of New Zealand. So you need a registration, a practicing certificate to be able to teach here in New Zealand. And if you do not have that, and if your B.Ed or your MEd does not qualify, very few universities, bachelors of education programs are considered at par with the New Zealand curriculum, and then leads to a teaching certification here. So if not, and if you're thinking of teaching here in New Zealand, you need a practicing certificate, and you may have to study a course. If you're interested in ECE, you may have to then do a program which leads to a teaching registration. Sanil, we do see a few questions here wherein these clients and these people have this concern that they have their previous experience in PGT, PGT. There are primary teachers. Would ECs still be an option for them? Can they consider EC from the education provider's point of view or from the immigration point of view? So you can cover this question, please, from the education provider's point of view. So if an overseas teacher who was teaching in primary, can that teacher move to EC now?
Yes, absolutely, Vandana. And this is the lot of students who have enrolled through with us are from the background of primary or secondary. If they're coming from major countries, because EC as a qualification is not formally available in a lot of countries. Most of them have a qualification in primary or secondary. So the students who are currently doing graduate diploma in teaching with us, most of them were primary and secondary teachers, and the skills are transferable. What we look at is, as long as you have the love and care for children, be it any age group, be it in early childhood as well, and you want to make difference in their lives, and you have a formal college 3 years bachelor's, and meet the language requirements, we'll be more than happy to welcoming you to study EC qualifications with us. So
Great.
it's I think in that way we will welcome anyone who's done primary qualifications or secondary. They were working as a primary teacher or secondary teacher back in their home country, looking to study early childhood. Yeah, we'll be accepting them.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Sanil. Sure. So I'll move to the next question. How soon can I get my current practicing certificate after completing the course to apply for the job?
So once you graduate, you can apply for teachers registration straight away. There is no tests or and I don't there is no test as such. You just apply for teachers registration as soon as you graduate. That's it. The minimum time they take for assessment is 4 weeks, So it's a straightforward assessment. What the feedback I get from students, very simple and straightforward. So yeah, you can, as soon as you graduate, just apply for it. You don't need to wait.
Thank you. The next question that we have, could you tell me the countries whose registration would be eligible for a New Zealand practicing certificate? Um,
So I can take that. So can't
Yeah.
really give that answer in one go because it doesn't work that way. There are different universities, and it would then based on the university's curriculum that the NZQA will assess and then come out with an outcome. So it cannot be a clear yes or no answer here. I would suggest please get in touch with us and maybe we can provide more clarification here. Another thing I would also like to add on here is there are times when people have their overseas qualification, and based on that, they do get practicing certificate here in New Zealand, or they get the teacher's registration. Sometimes that practicing certificate may be for primary, secondary, and then if these overseas qualified teachers do not have relevant teaching learning experience relevant to New Zealand teaching curriculum or style, it may not be very easy for them to find a job straight away. We see a lot of clients who end up wasting a lot of months and years probably getting their registration sorted through the discretionary pathway if the overseas qualification is not meeting straight away the requirement, and then they keep applying to for various schools and EC centers, but then the fact is, if you do not have a similar teaching learning experience, it may not be very easy for you to find a job because uh, the New Zealand people do not want to compromise on the quality of the teachers who come and teach their kids. That is the reason teachers are in extreme shortage. They will not accept anyone coming and teaching the kids. So if you are in a situation then, and if you're not getting a job despite getting the registration sorted, probably have a rethink. Maybe a qualification here in New Zealand is a good idea to come in, learn the teaching learning uh, as per the New Zealand curriculum, and then move on to a job. So probably saves time rather than staying overseas and keep applying and being disheartened. Over to you, Priyanka.
Thank you. I'll move to the next one. Language waiver is applicable for qualifications from UK, Canada, Australia, etc., like basically English speaking countries, just for recent graduates, or if someone has studied in one of these countries more than 5 years ago, they would still qualify for a language waiver.
To answer that question, there is no set deadline timeline as such. I mean, if you would have graduated from, for example, UK university, done your 1 year masters from there 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So once you submit your documents, of course, we'll look at your UK certificate, graduation certificate, and your transcript. And there is a form which we will send it through to you. That form needs to be filled by the university. Um, as long as they fill the form with all the questions answered, and that means you meet the requirements, and we don't need to sit for IELTS or PT again. That will be waived in that cases. So, in those students who have studied from one of those 7 countries, there is a form which needs to be filled by the universities. And yeah, if they fill it, if everything is correct, then we'll waive it off.
Thank you, Sanil. I'll
Mm.
move to the next question. If I hold a bachelor's degree and a master's degree, can I choose to get just my master's assessed at NZQA to meet NZTC's graduate diploma and EC course admission requirements?
From admission point of view, either you can get your bachelor's assessed at level 7 or master's assessed at level 9. It's up to you which one of the qualifications you want to choose. All I can say is most of the students, if they have 2 qualifications, most of them get their bachelor's assessed at level 7. But I'll leave it to Vandana to explain from her perspective, from immigration perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Sanil. So how it happens is, suppose somebody's done a teaching qualification and then bachelor's and a master's as well. We would advise getting all the qualifications assessed, and I'll tell you why. Um, so teaching qualification, because these applicants want to see if they are meeting the requirement. Definitely a bachelor's, because if they do not meet the requirement, then you must have a bachelor's assessed at level 360 credits. So if they have to study, they can study the course. If there's somebody's done a master's, again, better to add that master's also to the assessment, because that will come in handy. If that master's is assessed at level 9, they have multiple entry requirements met for the program. But at the same time, going towards the residence, they have two options open. With the master's, their residence could be much faster. Their salary increases even as a teacher if they have a overseas masters. A lot of people don't get their masters assessed, but at the end, when they start working as a teacher, they realize there's a teacher teaching with them who's got a master's and is being paid much higher than what they are being paid. So definitely for their salary assessment subsequently, masters will come in handy. If somebody is applying for a teacher's registration, they can add on two qualifications. So definitely it makes sense to apply for a teacher's qualification assessment and add on both bachelor's and master's to the assessment. So you are not disadvantaged, and in one NZQ assessment internet. So okay. So I think I'll give in more information here because a lot of attendees may not have that information. So when we are talking about assessment, we are talking about the overseas qualifications to be assessed by New Zealand Qualification Authority, NZQA. So they do an assessment which is called an International Qualification Assessment, IQA, and this is what is a mandatory requirement before you could enroll for a program or teaching council. So when you are submitting your application to New Zealand Qualification Authority, you can do a teaching qualification assessment and you can add on two other qualifications. So please add on both bachelor's and master's, so you don't have to then later on get another assessment done because you've missed out on anything. Do get in touch, and I can probably look at your qualifications and then give you tailored advice there as well. Over to you, Priyanka.
Thank you. So, everyone, yes, you all can get in touch with us. You can write to us on an email address, which is contact@nzimmigration.info, which will also be put up in our webinar chat. All right, so I'll move to the next question. On behalf of my wife, she is MCA. She's done MCA, Masters of Computer Application in India, and she was a primary school teacher in one of the schools. And they just want to know at what level of education, how many years of post-study work visa would she get? And what would be, I'm assuming, what would be the IELTS required for that particular study that she would choose? So basically, from my understanding is, ma'am, a person is trying to ask what would be the post-study work visa granted, how many years it is granted for what level of course. Yeah.
So if you enroll for a bachelor's in teaching, you would be eligible to get 3 years of post-study work visa, and if the duration of study is 3 years. If you've done diploma level 5 first, then diploma level 6 first, and then you've taken cross credits and done a bachelor's in 1 year, then you will get 1 year of post-study work visa. If the program leads to a teacher's registration and you need 2 years of work as a teacher to meet the teaching council's requirement, then an additional year could be granted so that you meet the registration requirement. The same applies if you're doing a graduate diploma in teaching 1 year, and if you're required to work for 2 years for the registration practicing requirement, then an additional year could be granted so that you meet the registration requirement. So you do get in touch. We can probably see what you meet the eligibility for, and then we'll give you more clarity there. Over to you, Priyanka.
Thank you. Uh, since we did discuss about the post-study work visa right now, I would just like to ask, what is the salary of EC teachers when they join the workforce after the course completion? If you could just
Yeah,
give, yeah.
that's a good question. Currently, a graduates, the feedback I'm getting is minimum they're getting $30 an hour. So that's the minimum pay they're receiving as soon as they graduate from the course. So $30 an hour multiplied by 40 hours per week into 52 weeks. So that would be, but that's the feedback I receive because it's all hourly. And I think Vandana ji can explain it much better, but I guess it's very high. When you get $30 an hour, you're a highly skilled worker in New Zealand. And I think New Zealand teachers are one of the best paid in the world right now. That's why it's qualification high in demand as well. So yeah, this is what our graduates earn as a starting pay, $30. So just imagine down the line, how much you earning down the every year once you're a fully qualified teacher as well. Yeah.
Ma'am, would you like to add to the
Um,
minimum wage that you
uh,
mentioned about? Yeah,
Yeah, so
thank you.
thank you so much. So the fact that no, the recent pass outs or the newly registered teachers on um, 30 hours and moving upwards, that meets the requirement of the residence pathway as well. So for somebody to be eligible for then subsequently move on to residence, they need to get at least median wage rate. And 29.66 is the current median wage rate. The salary is more than median. So that meets the immigration requirement as well. So I'm sure teachers don't have to worry on the salary bit. They are well paid here. Over to you, Priyanka.
Thank you. While we are talking about salaries, and I just want to ask Sanil, if someone has to be like, how will someone be eligible for an overseas relocation grant from the Ministry of Education?
Priyanka, I'm not too sure I can answer that question.
Uh,
Because it's something more related to direct migrants
I
coming
can
in.
take that, yeah. I can
Yeah.
take that, yeah. So, for somebody to be eligible for first thing, see the fact that New Zealand is issuing overseas teachers relocation grant confirms the fact that there's so much of shortage. So, you need to have a teacher's registration, you need to have a teacher's job. So, if you're coming to work as a teacher, so not so much to study, but definitely if you're meeting the requirement to be working as a teacher in New Zealand, and if a job as a teacher, it has to be from one of those EC registered centers or schools. So there are those requirements, but yes, you get in touch if you. To me, it looks that this person may have received a job offer and wanting to see how do they relocate. So if you're in that position, please do get in touch and we can give you more details on the visas that you would need and the relocation grant. What could that cover? It could cover your relocation, it could cover even the immigration cost and other things. So do get in touch. We'll give you more details there.
Thank you. And to get in touch, please write to us on contact@nzimmigration.info. All right, so moving forward, Sanil, this one is for you. What is language cert? Can you give us a bit of details about it?
Yeah, language cert is one of the English language tests, like IELTS or PT. So again, it has four components: reading, writing, listening, and speaking, and overall component. What makes language cert different than IELTS and PT is that it's completely online. And the popularity of language certs just surged during the lockdown. So it's one of the English language tests, and you do it in two sections. So reading, writing, listening is one section, and speaking is another section. So you can sit for the online test. There will be online supervisor who will be supervising the test, and the score is submitted online. So if you can do it from the comfort of your home, it's that flexible. It's getting popular still. IELTS and PT is quite popular with international students, but we've seen a lot of students recently have been even sitting for the language cert test as well. So the good thing is some students they only sit for since it's in two different sections, you just have to pay separately. So it's not that you have to pay for the whole test at one go, since we accept multiple test scores. So some students, for example, have scored 7 in speaking, but they've not scored in reading, writing, and listening. They can actually go for language cert only, pay the fees only for those three sections, and get the required scores.
Got it.
So,
Thank you. Thank you for giving us.
Priyanka, I
Yep.
would just request Sanil to clarify one answer, please. I can see few people have asked questions on those lines on how do they study? Can they study online? So, if you could elaborate
Mm.
on the hybrid mode of teaching at NZTC, Sanil, please.
Sure. So first of all, the qualifications what we offer for international students, we cannot offer via online mode. simply because Immigration New Zealand does not give visas to study online or distance learning mode of study. So the course what we offer to international students, the mode of study is blended learning. So blended, or as you said, it's a combination of practicum, field experience in an early childhood center. So students, while they study with us, they have to do field experience of 16 hours per week. They have to attend our face-to-face tutorials weekly, and the rest of the studies are online. The assessments and assignments are online through our NZTC online portal. So it's a combination of field experience or internship. It's and plus face-to-face tutorials plus online studies. So it's not completely online for international students.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sanil, for letting us know about the mode of teaching in NZTC. The next question that we have is, um, if I take master by research, can I teach too?
So,
So
Priyank,
the
so
master's
what?
and postgraduate qualifications, they do not lead to teachers registration. That means you cannot work as an early childhood teacher. So if you're looking to become a teacher in New Zealand, you have to study graduate diploma in teaching level 7. If you're looking to do masters by research, you're looking to do a qualification, which is in non-teaching roles. If you're looking to work in non-teaching roles, so more in, like you said, masters by research. If you want to get more on the academic side of early childhood, becoming a lecturer or tutor or working in admin, or if you in the future you got plans to study PhD in education, that's when you do masters of research qualifications.
Thank you. The next question that I have is, what is the validity of a practicing certificate?
I think once you graduate, you get provisional teacher registration, which is valid for 2 years. And
Okay.
after provisional registration, you apply for full teachers registration. So once you graduate, you can straight apply for provisional registration. The validity is 2 years. So after 2 years, you have to apply for full registration. That's how the teachers registration work. And I guess you have to, from time to time, you have to keep renewing your registrations as well. Like it's a license, it's a registration, so you have to keep renewing it from time to time.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Sanil. So the next one that we have is, okay, one of the students has masters in TESOL. Is there ELP requirement after this qualification?
If the master's in TESOL is from US, UK, Australia, Canada, um, one of those 7 countries, South Africa, Ireland, then no. We don't need IELTS or PT. But if you've done masters of TESOL from any other country, then you would have to give IELTS or PT.
Thank you. The very famous question that we have, do we have any scholarships available?
We're currently not offering any scholarships to our international students. It's a very common question we get. Simply because I feel, as I said, it's one of those qualifications which are high in demand. And till date, we got 100% job outcomes for our graduates. So, we don't offer scholarships right now.
I'll pitch in
Thank you.
here. So this is one provider which is very popular with domestic students as well. So if you look at their the class mix, you'll find a lot of domestic students along with the international students. So if a New Zealander has wants to work as a EC teacher, this is what they do. And the fact that it has an option of blended learning where these students can study while they are working definitely makes it very popular. So yeah, I'm aware that that's a very popular organization and the school even amongst New Zealanders. Yeah. Priyanka, if you don't
70%
mind,
of our students are domestic, 30% are international, as Vandana ji said. So, a large chunk of our students are still
yeah.
domestic. So, that's the exposure our international students get, is to meet and greet locals, as well, make connections and networking, not only with the employers, but with their colleagues at the same time.
And that gives confidence to international students as well. So if 70% are domestic students, that means the quality of education is good. Definitely they're getting the outcome. So that gives confidence to even international students then.
True.
Priyanka, if you don't mind,
Yes.
I see two questions, and if I'll quickly take take them,
Sure.
considering that we may not have time otherwise for these two.
Right.
I see one of you is asking that I'm currently in New Zealand with open work visa. I completed master's in computer application, 8 years of experience as assistant professor in India. Is there any course that I can do or directly apply for teaching test in New Zealand? If I will attend a course, is there any possibility to do a course with my current work visa? So I would tell this attendee, please do get in touch with us, because considering that you are on an open work visa, definitely we could assist you with the offer letter and a variation of conditions, so you could study this course while you keep working full time. A lot of times open work visa holders or work visa holders do not consider studying because they feel they will have to leave their work visa and they will have to study full time and they will not be able to work full time. So the best thing is you can keep working full time and you can also do this course while you are working full time. So and by the end of it, then it leads to teaching registration, has a pathway to residence. So if you are considering studying something while you keep working full time, please do get in touch. And I see another question, in fact, two, three questions on similar lines. Can the students work while studying? So definitely, if you are on a student visa, you can work 20 hours a week while you are studying. And you can also work full time during your scheduled vacation. So anybody who's wanting to come on a student visa to do this program, yes, definitely you can work part-time while you are studying during your course, during your scheduled vacations and your Christmas vacations. You would also have the option of working full-time. Yeah, over to you, Priyanka.
Thank you. Ma'am, I see a lot of questions where people have asked if I complete a bachelor's in teaching or if I complete a postgraduate in teaching, will I be able to get my family and kids? I see a lot of questions, and yeah, there are still few more questions remaining. Would you just like to touch base upon whether they would be able
Yeah.
to get their family and kids again?
Definitely, yes. So, the partners and kids would be eligible to come. I've conveyed previously as well. Graduate diploma in teaching, EC, if somebody is doing, partner can even get a partnership-based work visa. Kids can be eligible for domestic fee paying student visa, dependent child student visa, where they can study for free. So please do get in touch if your family relocating with you is one of the major concern. Definitely get in touch and we'll provide options for your family while you consider studying. Yeah, over to you, Priyanka.
Thank you. And I'll take one last question as we are heading towards the end of this webinar. So I'm studying NZTC master's course now. After completing it, do I need to do the IELTS again to do PGDA, or can I do it with the master's course?
Sorry,
So
can you repeat
someone,
the question again, Priyanka?
so I'm studying NZTC master's course now. After completing it, do I need to give IELTS again to do a postgraduate diploma, or can I do it with that master's course itself?
Okay, so if you're studying a master's qualification with NZTC or with any New Zealand institution, if you look at the English language requirements for graduate diploma in teaching, so if you study 2 years or more in New Zealand, then your IELTS is waived. But if you study a master's is 1.5 years, so in that case, the students would have to give IELTS or PT again if they're looking to study graduate diploma in teaching level 7.
Thank you. Sanal, just a last one for you. What's the difference between a registration and a practicing certificate? You did
So
mention about the practicing certificate. Yeah, if you could just speak about
yeah,
the
so
difference.
registration is when you once you graduate, when you're applying to teaching council, it's called registration. And what you get from teaching council is a practicing certificate, which will allow you to work as a qualified and registered ECE teacher. So
All right.
that's what it is. I mean, some students sometimes they say, "Can I how can I get teachers registration or how can I get practicing?" So it's the same terminology used by different coming from different countries. Maybe they use a different terminology, or like some say, "How can I get a license to teach?" So that's how it is.
Right. Some might find it as a jargon, but yes, thank you for giving us that information and letting them know about it. I see a lot of questions that are still not being answered. Considering the time restrictions, we would not be able to take all the questions, but more or less, we have tried to cover the questions. And for all of those whose questions have not been answered over here, we would request you to please email us on an email address which is contact@nzimmigration.info. It is listed on the webinar chat. You can use that. So, with this, I would like to thank both the speakers for giving us the information about NZTC teaching courses. And thank you, ma'am, for shedding light about and giving the information, license immigration advice to us. So, thank you, both of you. Would you like to share last note, Sanal?
Yeah. I mean, thank you so much, for inviting me. I think this was a fruitful session, and I think we should do part two of this because who said here, that it's the last webinar? I don't think so. It's the last webinar. It feels like, we get a lot of interest. So we may have to do part two session or,
I can see a lot of questions we've not been able to handle. So I do agree with you there, Sanil.
yeah, yeah. So, but really happy and great to see a lot of these students are looking at teaching as a profession, and they want to make difference in the life of young children. And thank you, the immigration advisors team, Himanshu ji, Vandana ji, and all the team here, to supporting us, to get great EC teachers, and yeah, looking forward to 2024 with more students enrolling.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for sparing your time coming on a Friday evening. So we really appreciate your time as well. Before we end, Priyanka, I could not cover one important question, and I'll just like to
Sure.
touch base, and probably we'll cover it in our part two webinar. A lot of male teachers have these questions. Can male teachers be successful as EC teachers here in New Zealand? So please do get in touch with us, whoever had this question, because definitely, this is an area where we want more teachers, male teachers, to come and play their, role. And New Zealand is very open to it. We've started seeing that interest from a lot of male students, and we would definitely like them to, come forward and do this course if this is what interests them. Definitely, yes.
Yeah, Vandana ji. I mean, we have seen a lot of male students enrolling in the last few years, and it's growing fast. From the education provider, as I said, we can't be discriminating on the basis of the gender or race or any or age or ethnicity. So we do welcome students, male teachers as well. In fact, we keep on interacting with the EC sector. There are a lot of childcare centers or managers we have interacted, and they love the fact some of them serious looking for male EC teachers because they bring in very different perspective, teaching and learning perspective from the kids' perspective, from the kids' point of view. So what they would bring is a different teaching skills, different job responsibilities, and a lot of centers are invite them with open arms. So there is, if there is, I feel that if you're a male student looking to study EC, you'll be surprised. I mean, how much support you'll receive. I mean, I still remember 12 years ago when I started working with NZTC. Part of my job orientation was to spend a time in an EC center, and these kids were so surprised to see a big guy in an EC center. They were jumping around me and jumping on me, and it's a very different feeling you get. And the kids, for kids, they just love you for the fact that they got somebody else to do a high five or jump through around, and do things which is not they can do with regular teachers. So, and it was, I can, it's a eye opening. So definitely, if you're looking to study, yeah, that's a good career for male teachers as well.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Sanil, for touching
Sanal.
base on that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
no
sharing
problem.
that experience, that was quite insightful and yeah, motivating. So, with that, ma'am, would you like to say bye to our viewers? since
Uh,
this would be the last webinar for this year for sure.
and we'll come with part two. So, please
Absolutely.
keep your questions with you and will be there to answer. So, thank you so much for attending this webinar. Teaching registered teachers is very close to our heart, and we love to see skilled professionals, overseas trained teachers, New Zealand registered teachers come and change the lives of kids here, make life better for them as a family here. So would be happy to answer further questions on this. Please do get in touch with us and just be a bit of show a bit of patience because we are nearing the holiday period. We'll try and answer your questions as soon as we can, but if we take a day or two extra, just be patient with us and we'll definitely get in touch. Thank you so much for attending the webinar today. Thank you, Sanil, for taking out time, and thank you, Priyanka, for hosting this.